Whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? It is the Monty Show, Thursday, December 9th, 2021. Lot to get to today. Got to talk about Patrick Beverly and Anthony Edwards straight up disrespecting Rudy Gobert. You guys should check the scoreboard. Happiness in marriage and the pandemic and shit.
And stuff.
Yeah. Interesting conversation around what makes you happy. Like, are you happy? Has your definition of happiness changed during the pandemic? Jake and I had one of those, hey, daddy.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
Wow.
We were talking about happiness last night and what defines happiness. And I actually do think prosperity and happiness has changed, right? I mean, during the pandemic.
Yeah, probably.
I think it has. We'll talk about that. Snuka, first one is, he says, hey, yo, man. Good morning. Good morning, Snuka. Good to see you. Let's kick off the show this morning with panic and despair in Provo. It was amazing yesterday to see the out-and-out panic and despair. Yesterday in Provo over all of these Kalani Sitake leaving BYU rumors.
This is a code 10 abort.
Well, now I have to tell you they're more than rumors. And I think we've been pretty, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we've been pretty spot on about the Kalani Sitake contract situation at BYU. And straight up, the situation is he signed an extension last fall. A couple of months ago. When I say last fall, I mean I believe it was in August. But that has not precluded him from being one of the top candidates for pretty much every major opening, especially in the Pac-12, and interviewing with Washington and now Oregon. And some BYU fans, and I think a lot of BYU fans, were shocked to hear that Kalani had talked to Oregon yesterday. And it is a little surprising, and the thing that should stand out to you is it's a change in the mode of operation for Kalani Sitake, because he had very much sent the message that I'm not really open for business right now because I'm focused on football. And once football's over, once the bowl game's over, we do our exit interviews, we wrap up the season, then I'm willing to talk to people about their openings. Well, then all of a sudden, I think he saw that guys like Lincoln Riley were getting to USC. And Kalani Sitake had, I think, wanted to talk to USC. And when Washington came calling, Kalani Sitake listened. And when BYU continued to drag their feet in this contract situation, all of a sudden Mario Cristobal went to Miami, and who's the first person that Oregon called?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was Kalani Sitake. Now, he's not the only one, and there's nothing that should indicate to any of us that he's close to taking that job. But I was told yesterday by people at BYU that they were taken aback that he was going to talk to Oregon, because Oregon called and asked permission, and it was granted as you would expect that it would be. And Kalani took the phone call. And I think that set some alarm bells off at BYU. But the situation is that BYU are dragging their feet on this contract situation with Kalani. And there is a palatable sense of urgency amongst the administration now to get this thing done. And yet I sit here and I wonder, why is it not done yet? Why are we still sitting here on Thursday, December 9th, without a reworking and an addendum to Kalani Sitake's contract, Jake? And I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is not the first time we've seen this in the state of Utah. Yesterday on the show that we, brought back up the Gordon Hayward situation and how the Jazz handled that. And this BYU Kalani situation reeks of those same, handlings. I think that you can never assume that someone who is really good at what they do is not going to consider opportunities. It is the age-old dynamic when you're being hunted, if you will. Hey, someone wants me to be their head coach. Am I really not at least going to talk to them? Am I really not at least going to hear them out and understand what they're actually offering? and then of course we get to, well, what are they offering? And so all of a sudden it goes from, hey, I'm not talking to anybody, we're good here at BYU, to, yeah, I'm talking to Oregon and I'm talking to Washington, and there's conversations being had, and it's amazing. I just want to point out, yesterday on the show we were talking about how he hadn't quite yet been having these conversations, and it changes very quickly. And I think if I think, and again, this is just based on what I see happening. There's nobody that's said this to us about Kalani, but if I was Kalani and I was in this situation and I was trying to get my contract situation, smoothed out and taken care of and handled with BYU, and it was taking this long, I would probably be frustrated over whatever it is that BYU wants as well. Like if you're Kalani Sitake, you're coveted. You know that you could take any one of these jobs and be successful, but you also know that you have a good thing going at BYU. So it's frustrating that it's taken this long to get something done. And on the BYU side of this thing, I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you're being stubborn about anything in this negotiation. I don't understand how you're taking risk here, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're not in a position to lose Kalani Sitake. You're not in a position to try to go out and find another head coach to replace one of the best you've ever had. And my point with that is just, again, just like I said yesterday, you're heading into the Big 12 in a couple seasons here. This is hardly the time to have head coaching issues, because once Kalani's gone, if that were to happen, assistants are going with. So you're going to have to replace that whole thing. Good luck with that. That's going to be really tough. And then obviously it goes without saying that your recruiting is going to get messed up, and you're just going to get set back like 5 years.
Yeah, you cannot. It would be catastrophic. Don't die, Jake.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, it's early,
It is early. It would be catastrophic, and I think if you look at it, the questions that surround Kalani Sitake having these conversations, I think one of the main ones is, hey, is Oregon a better job than BYU? Well, going into the Big 12, I don't know that I can say that Oregon's a better job than BYU. I think when you look at, the many facets and the complexities of being the head football coach at BYU, whether that's the church, the honor code, recruiting with those two things, just knowing straight away that you don't have access to the top recruits, or certainly as many recruits as the top programs in the country, just based on the church and the honor code, sure. But that's not what Kalani Sitake's ever been about. Kalani Sitake has openly often said BYU is his dream job. It's the only job he's ever wanted. His love and affection and admiration for Lavelle Edwards, his history at BYU. But then why is he talking to Oregon? Well, here's why he's talking to Oregon. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yeah. If the phone rings and it's Phil Knight saying, hey, here's a bag of money and Jordans for a lifetime, why don't you come to Eugene? You're going to take that phone call.
By the way, did anybody see yesterday, came out on Oregon's Twitter, that they're, renovating all their facilities, and they've got a whole plan to basically, just refresh the entire athletic situation there. Facilities, stadium, like the whole thing. They're pouring money into the program. So I don't know, man. I just think this is one of those situations where, and I know this is cold-blooded to say, but we wouldn't have to talk about this if this was done. That's what I find myself feeling. Hey, we wouldn't have to be sitting here discussing the possibility, however small it may be, the possibility of Kalani Sitake wearing green or wearing purple, if this was done. And it would be, to me, it would be a real shame if he were to leave, because I think he's built something special at BYU. I think he's done some amazing work, man.
No. Call it what it is. If Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it's a catastrophe. It is a tragedy. It is, in my opinion, an unforgivable misstep by upper management at BYU. That's as plain and simple as I can put it. If Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it will not be his fault. He will not be a villain. Kalani Sitake belongs at BYU for the rest of his coaching career. He should be paid as one of the top coaches in the country. His assistants should be paid, and there should be a significant buyout added to his contract. But he should be the head coach at BYU. If he leaves BYU, it will be not by his own doing. Make that very clear. This is not a question that if Kalani Sitake walks away from BYU, it will be because BYU didn't do what it needed to do to keep the man who is the only coach in the country that should coach BYU for the next decade at a minimum. BYU did not do what it needed to do to keep Kalani Sitake in Provo. He is loyal, he is fierce, he is proud, and he wants to be the head coach at BYU. I have heard nothing to the contrary. I have seen nothing to the contrary. And that includes him interviewing with Oregon. That to me means nothing that his loyalty is shaken or you're going to take the phone call. But Tom Holmoe's done what he can do. This is over his head. This needs to get done, and it needs to get done now. And if you don't think that, because we always hear this, oh, you guys don't have sources, you're a hack. Okay, well, I told you 3.5 weeks ago that they were working on a deal for Kalani Sitake to rework his new contract, to add offset buyout language, to add more money to his assistants pool so that they were paid more and they had more stability. We told you that 3.5 weeks ago. Why hasn't it been done? I don't know why it hasn't been done. And it's a mistake that it hasn't been done, but it's got to get done. But the other thing that I want to make very clear, I have no reason to believe, and I talk to people at BYU on a daily basis, I have no reason to believe that Kalani Sitake is leaving BYU. But now the door's open. And if talking to Oregon, which has caused very clearly BYU media to melt down, which is remarkable to me, but has caused BYU media, BYU fans to melt down, BYU Twitter to melt down. If you're melting down over him talking to Oregon, just reevaluate yourself. You probably should get on some meds. He's going to talk to Oregon because it creates an opening. It creates more leverage. He's in demand. The sad thing is he likely had to do that to get BYU to move, which is really frustrating to me. And while I don't believe that Kalani Sitake is underpaid, I don't believe he's underpaid. I from what I understand, he makes $2.4 million a year right now. If in fact that's the right number, if that's accurate, let's just say he makes $2 million. He's not underpaid.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not Nick Saban. He's not Urban Meyer. He's not one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. He's had 2 really good years at BYU. He is a big part of the reason that they are going to the Big 12. Okay. He's a head coaching candidate for just about every major job. BYU needs to up the ante now. That's as simple as it is. That's where we are.
Yeah.
But I want to make it very clear. If he leaves, and I don't think he will, if he leaves, it's not his fault. It's BYU's fault. Plain and simple.
I agree. I think it's this is not anything new in sports. While you were just talking there, I was thinking about other situations and contracts and players and this is the conversation we always have with players or coaches or managers or whatever in their relationship with upper management. And it is a unique situation being that it is college athletics, because obviously it's not just like an owner of a team and the player, but
That's right.
It's a little different. But at the same time, you can't tell me that this couldn't have been done already. And this is where I'm just kind of it gets kind of almost in a sense like tiring, It's like, how hard can it be to work out buyout language? How hard is it? How hard is it if you're BYU to come to the middle on something? We shouldn't be here.
But there's something else, though, and I think this is really significant. BYU's not special or unique. And BYU fans, I know this is probably going to piss you off, but you need to come around to the idea that BYU is no different than any other university. When it comes to the business of sports, BYU is no different. Kalani Sitake and his relationship with BYU, okay, that's a little bit different. It's not unlike Mario Cristobal at Miami, right? But I think there's this belief that Kalani would never leave us. He would let's just, like, if one more fool says, let's just tithe more. Do you understand that he would leave? And the people vilifying Kalani for taking these interviews, your head's in the sand if you believe that Kalani would never leave and this is a special place. Well, when it comes to money and contracts and big time sports, it's not different. It's not unique. It's not special. It's not. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings or if that stings. It's no different than any other major athletic department in the country. In fact, it's more difficult to succeed at BYU than most other major athletic departments in the country. You got to get over this thing that BYU is wholesome and different and unique, because it's not. It's not. He would leave. He should be taking these phone calls. It's not his fault that BYU is not doing what needs to be done to get done what needs to get done. That's not Kalani's fault.
Yeah.
So for everybody vilifying him and calling him selfish and, oh, he just got a contract extension, what more does he want? Okay, well, he wants what everybody wants. He wants exactly what's coming to him. Nobody in modern BYU football history, including Bronco Mendenhall, has had this kind of success. And you're going into the Big 12. Did you think it was going to be cheap to go to the Big 12? Did you never think about the financial repercussions of going into the Big 12? Because they're significant.
Yeah.
They are significant. You will pay into that conference. You will pay a larger slice of your revenue into that conference.
Is it not worth it?
I think it is worth it.
100%.
But it costs you more to hire coaches. And this is the other thing that I would say about this Kalani situation. Who are you going to replace him with? And this is the thing that I don't understand about where BYU management is at.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost you to replace Kalani Sitake?
Hell of a lot more than it's going to cost you to keep him.
Well, and the other thing is, let's say you just find some bro to replace him, right? No matter who it winds up being. How is that going to impact your recruiting? It's going to be devastating for a couple of years. What does that mean to you? Well, that means that when you get into the Big 12, you're not going to be able to win. Because we already know from independence to the Big 12 is a steep climb, right? That's a fact.
Yeah.
We already know that Kalani is recruiting at a very high level. Very high level. Dominating the state of Utah right now. He is proven he can go to every corner of this country and get talent to come to BYU. He can go to the islands and get big bros to come and play at BYU.
Yep.
He can do that. Like, he has been able to work. Do you realize, I think what number was it the other day? 37 BYU players are married.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And they're taking all of their wives to the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
How many other schools have to even deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no question that he's the guy for the job. That's why I'm just so surprised that this isn't done. I think it is, it's borderline, in my opinion, it's borderline foolishness out of the management of BYU. Like I just can't wrap my head around the idea that you're so stuck on how much the buyout's going to be that this isn't done yet.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is just foolish. I don't understand why you would have the mindset of, yes, we have to have X number for the buyout in order to get this done.
But when has, and this is one of the things that makes it difficult at BYU, when has the church ever done anything quickly?
Yeah, I guess.
They haven't.
I'm tired of hearing about the church. I'm tired of hearing about it.
But I mean, that might be true, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Then
right?
But then if we're gonna say that, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, but if we're gonna say it is what it is about how they operate, well, then it is what it is when he signs with Oregon, right? That's what we're gonna say. That's the frustrating and unfortunate part about the way business is handled and done at BYU. And I feel like by this state, I feel like this isn't the first time this kind of situation has come up. And I know the Jazz have changed their front office leadership, and I know they're going through things, but I just want a team in this state to do what it takes to win at the highest level. I'm tired of hearing about, well, the Jazz are strapped, with money and they don't have picks, and they can't get the job done. And so 3 years from now, when we're doing this show, we're going to be talking about Don being a Knick, when we should be talking about Don being a 2-time champion with the Utah Jazz. Like at some point, I want a team to do what it takes.
But I think the church is a little different. I think, and that's why the tithing comment is so frustrating. Because you can't, and I don't know the inner workings of, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't. But from what I understand, the church does not fund BYU athletics.
Yeah,
they don't. It's not like they're like, oh well, okay, well, Breland and Dallin gave an extra $20 earmarked for the football program. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Does not work that way. You can't fill your envelope a little more. You can't scratch that check with a few more zeros. It doesn't work that way. So BYU is just, in my opinion, behind the times. And I think the hardest part for BYU fans is you're going to vilify Kalani the way you vilified Bronco when he left.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be, oh my God, I can't believe he would leave. Well, he left. And if you don't think that Kalani would leave too, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't. All right, let's get some comments in here because I see many of you. Gabe Ledley, what's up, my guy? Good to see you, buddy. The Nye Guy says, morning, fellas. What's up? Hawkins says, morning, all. Brylark says, good morning, boys. Brylark, good to see you, friend. Tay Skywalker says, Sataki to Oregon. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I really, really don't. Neville93 says, good morning and Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
You too, bud.
Good to see you. We all know the church has plenty of money to pay him too.
Yeah.
But again, it's not the church. I'm telling you, it's not and this is what happens at BYU. Inevitably, it's, oh, well, the church is cheap. But it's a football program. It's not the head of the LDS church being like, oh, well, we'll replace Kalani with,
but
the stake president in Bountiful.
But I think the issue for people is that it obviously is a church-based program.
His
right?
Pop Warner team is amazing.
It's obviously a church-based program.
But it's not. It's not. It's a church-based, it's a faith-based institution. BYU is wholly owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
Right? The Mormon Church owns BYU.
They own that thing.
That does not mean the apostles are making a decision on Kalani Sitake.
Right, but the point is that we all know for a fact that the church isn't hurting for money. So what fans are doing is they're saying, okay, well, if we have all this money, why are we worrying about buyout language? That's what fans are doing. And I get what you're saying. Hey, it's not the church, like officials in the church making decisions on the football program. But I have to kind of agree with the sentiment that why is BYU penny pinching on buyout language with Kalani Sitake when there's not another Kalani Sitake out there for them to go and get? That's what I think the sentiment is.
Because I think the folks making this decision in Provo don't believe that Kalani will leave.
And my opinion is that is a very dangerous game to play.
I totally
very
agree.
Dangerous game to play.
I totally agree. Brylark says, we all know the church has plenty of money to pay him. Austin Lewis says, Homo has done a great job so far. Don't mess this one up, man. But from what I'm told, it's over Tom Homo's head.
Yeah.
Tom has done what he can do. Tom has made it very clear that Kalani's his guy and that he is willing to do what he has to do to keep Kalani as the head coach.
I think Tom and Kalani have a great relationship.
And there's been a lot of questions about that, and I have asked that specific question to the people at BYU that I know, and roundly everybody says they get along just fine, swimmingly.
Yeah, this to me, based on what we're hearing, based on what your people tell you, in the actions we're seeing and everything, this to me seems like a very straightforward thing. Kalani and Tom Homo have a good relationship. mainly because this is not in Tom's hands. This is above him, and that I think is what is frustrating about this whole thing. Because you got to remember, it's not like Kalani's on his phone all day talking to the people at BYU. Remember that.
No.
It is Kalani's agent talking to the people at BYU handling this situation, and Kalani probably gets a couple updates a day. And so if you're Kalani, you're sitting here, your agent's telling you, hey, Oregon wants to talk. Hey, we're trying to work out this thing with BYU. So you're basically in the same seat as we are in the sense that you're just waiting. You're waiting for an answer. You're waiting for BYU to say, hey, here we go. We can agree on this.
But the issue also is, think about how this is playing out in the football offices at BYU.
Oh, man.
I mean, you have family and very close-knit friendships on that staff. They're all talking about it, too. Their families are talking about, hey, we going to Oregon? Hey, man, we going to be ducks? We duck hunting? We got to put on those paint splatter uniforms?
We going to get some Nikes?
We going to get some Nikes? We going to Phil Knight's house? I mean, those conversations are happening.
And then on the other side of that, there's also, I'm sure, people in that program who work for Kalani who don't want to go to Oregon, who want to stay at BYU. And so that's why I say, for Kalani, it has to be a difficult situation.
It is.
And that's why, to go back to what you were saying, vilifying Kalani is just not the way to go here, because you got to understand, this is a business dealing. It's not like Kalani's just out here trying to blow up the program,
I want to make this very clear.
Yeah.
I don't think he's leaving.
It would be shocking.
I think it will get done.
Yeah.
But I'll be repetitive and say it again. If Kalani Sitake isn't the head football coach at BYU in 2 weeks, that's BYU's fault. I don't want to hear a single voice criticizing Kalani Sitake. I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, he's a sinner. I saw that yesterday.
Check yourself.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday on Twitter. If he takes that money, if he runs for the money, he's a sinner. He's no good anyway. Okay. Well, he may be no good then, and he may be a sinner, but Oregon's going to win a bunch of football games.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly, Greg Hawkins. Church money greater than Nike money? Probably. But Phil Knight's a lot more, available. His purse strings are a lot looser than the church's.
Seriously.
Right?
This had been done.
Hey, look, Kalani. Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight. Look, I'm going to toss you $3 million, $4 million bucks, and guarantee you we're going to drop a case of Air Jordans on your stoop every other week. And
I would.
you know what? We'll put it on your we'll put it on your assistant coach's stoops too. What about a new headband? I got a great visor package coming. They're gonna throw everything at
The
anybody
kitchen sink, dude.
that they want to hire. BYU will not. So we'll see. And by the way, it should be said, leverage is with BYU because he's already there, and it's a pain in the ass to move.
I could make a case that it's not.
I think it is difficult to move.
I think I can make a case that it's not.
Okay. Carbon Beach says the fact the Y hasn't renovated LES is an Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Yet is an indicative of the disconnect between admin and the team. Could you renovate Lavelle Edwards Stadium? Sure, you could.
You could find a way to renovate anything.
It's a great place to play football.
Yeah.
And the Rock is unbelievable. Anyway, Brylark says, in any professional situation, you always take the meeting. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Even if you know you're going to stay, you owe it to yourself to explore every opportunity, regardless of the chance that it will happen. You're exactly right.
Exactly.
Greasy Hands Auto Sean Butterfield.
You're
just Greasy Hands. Greasy Hands says, good day. Chris Hill drug his feet and Kalani left Utah. He's a man of action. Well, that's true.
Hey, man, that's
That
a
is
great
true.
point, dude.
How'd that work out at Oregon State?
Y'all want to play.
Yeah, man.
Greg Hawkins, if the church really wanted BYU to win, they drastically increase the budget, go Alabama level money, and hire a top coach, even if he's not Mormon.
This is Coach Saban.
But see, this goes back to the age-old conversation, and I don't think it's a conversation. Winning at BYU is not first.
Yeah,
it's
football's
not the
fifth.
priority. Yeah, it's not the priority. Exactly right. It's not the priority. Money's not the priority. Spreading the word of Jesus Christ and adding to the membership rules of the church is the priority. Always has been, always will be. And to me, that's why you don't compromise the honor code to recruit better. To me, that's why you don't go Alabama level money. You don't need to do that.
And so this is why I say when you were saying, hey, the leverage is with BYU, I think the leverage is with Kalani here because at some point BYU needs to understand that Kalani Sitake is 100% without a doubt the best guy for the job. He's fine with all of that. Like where are you going to go and find another guy to do what Kalani does at the level Kalani does it at BYU?
And he has a Temple recommend.
Like,
Those
where
guys
are you going to find him,
Those
dude?
guys don't grow on trees or pop out of
thing
wombs.
done, bro. Get it done.
Yeah, you should get it done. I don't know that this is your real name, sir. Jizoint Man 1.
I'm for real.
Morning Studs. What's up, Jizoint Man? Casey Finlinson. Here's a guy that knows a thing or two about the church and BYU.
Yes.
Comment dump.
Roll on up.
The church gives no money to the athletic department. Also, as an employee of said university, all things and decisions take a lot of time to get done. Correct. He also says employees at BYU understand that things like salaries do not move fast. It's been like this throughout the university forever. Everyone else sees it different. Tithing does not go towards salaries. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I was right about that. BYU Athletics does not upgrade or spend any money unless they have a total amount due in hand before they do anything. Well, and I think a lot of universities are like that. It's called an endowment. And a lot of football coaches are paid through endowments. So I want to say at USC, I'm pretty sure USC's salary is an endowment. Like, if you look at, I could be wrong about this. I think if you look at Lincoln Riley on Twitter, I actually am pretty sure that his name is in the endowment. It's not. I lied. I'm a terrible person. Anyways.
So get your facts straight.
But there are a lot of universities where you'll see it's the Fred and Stan Drescher University of Dick Blow head coach.
You are fake.
Like, you'll see that there's like an actual family that pays the salary of the head coach at a university. And it happens at all major universities. Like Oklahoma State, T. Boone Pickens, or, I mean, pick the Rice Eccles Stadium.
Yeah. It's
named after the Eccles. Like, I mean, that's how things get done at universities, is usually through endowments. So yeah, Casey, I think you're right on. Snuka says, if all my tithes would go BYU football, I'd pay more. Sorry, not sorry, Lord.
Hey.
Jesus is a Notre Dame fan for a reason.
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
The Night Guy says, who here would not take a meeting for another employer with an opportunity to get more money?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I would. Norge Coog says, Kalani is not Oregon's first choice. Their fan base would be very underwhelmed if he becomes a head coach at Oregon. Totally disagree with that. Is he their first choice? I have no idea. I cannot tell you. I think it was two or three radio stations asked me to do an interview yesterday to talk about him. If you read my Twitter feed, you see all the Oregon fans coming in. My friends that are Oregon fans are wildly excited about him. Because when you look at their other said coaching candidates, like I think Justin Wilcox is the other guy that they're talking to at Cal. He's never won anything.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that Oregon fans are excited about Kalani Sitake, you're crazy.
Bro,
at USC, I know probably 100 USC fans that the USC people I talked to were absolutely excited about having Kalani Sitake as their head coach.
A poly head coach at Oregon would be highly successful.
God. Yeah, absolutely. Bradlark says, the vilifying of people deciding to leave any Utah sport is Utah culture. Remember Gordon Hayward?
Yes, we do. Dude.
Larry Pilgrim says, boosters can make up salary gaps in budgets and often do. They do. Maury Alvarez says, even Lavelle interviewed with other teams. Pay the man and his staff, exactly.
Yeah.
The complications at BYU are not good reasons to stay if offered more money elsewhere. Correct. I would agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Hawkins says the reason the church is cheap on BYU is because BYU is part of the church educational system, while the money is all in the Deseret Management Corporation. Can't mix two since they are a church. Correct. Yeah, there are. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but X, Y, and Z equals get the damn thing done.
Yeah.
Like.
Can we get more Phil Knight impersonations? That shiz was hilarious. I'm sure it'll happen. Brylark says, always remember, anything can be negotiated.
Yes.
Hey, Kalani, all your kids and your grandkids will have their entire tuition paid for at Oregon.
I'm for real.
Cool. Where do I sign? Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight. By the way, I know I told you I was going to drop some Jordans, but we're going to do that, and there'll be a little envelope in the box, too, that's a check for your kids' tuition.
Facts.
So go ahead and sport those Nikes. All right, go Ducks. Like he shows up, and the first thing they give him is, hey, Kalani, I'm Joe Dickblow, the president of Oregon. Nice to meet you.
What's up, motherfuckers?
I believe that's a direct quote from Kalani. Hey, Kalani, I'm Joe Dickblow, president in Oregon.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Nice to meet you. I'm sorry? What did you say?
What's up, motherfuckers?
Yeah. And then Phil Knight comes in. He's like, all right, here's your custom duck collar. You know, like,
Wow.
anyway.
Wow.
Just tuning in, but we would literally lose all of our recent recruits. Kalani leaving would be fatal to the program. George Rojas says, yeah, I agree. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, man.
More Phil Knight right now, please. No, you can't. Okay, there's your filter. You can't curse in the comments and have YouTube not filter you, because they will. The Nye guy says Jake is on point with the drops today.
I'm trying, man.
Pretty rare.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying.
Casey says 2 completely separate budgets for the athletic department and education. Yeah, and it is self-funded. Yeah, I mean, BYU, that's why I said BYU's not unlike many universities. I mean, it takes a lot to be elite. And the BYU athletic department right now is operating at a very high level. Just about every team is at the top of the table. So, anyway, I feel
Man,
better.
I hope we never have to talk about him wearing green.
I'm telling you, if Kalani Sitake leaves BYU, it's not his fault.
I really hope it never happens,
And
man.
he is not a villain.
I agree.
He is not a villain.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Oregon a better job than BYU?
I think,
I don't think it is.
I think here's my trouble. Here's where I think Oregon might have a slight edge. I think that not that it's negative, but the baggage that comes with being the head coach at BYU, all the things you got to deal with, that's what I think really, if you're anybody except Kalani, you're going to look at these two situations and you're going to say, okay, heading into a new conference, there's some things I got to abide by as the head coach. Like, there's things I got to do at BYU that I don't have to do at Oregon. By the way, Oregon is the cool hipster school that's got the Nike money and Phil Knight, and it's going to have the new campus.
Hey, Kalani, it's Phil Knight.
Yeah, hey, it's Phil Knight. How you doing? I just think that I don't know. I am bewildered. That's a lot. I know we gotta move on, but I am just shocked. I can't get down with the idea of, oh, well, it's BYU, so things move slow. Well, what does that even mean, dude? Are we gonna say, well, it's BYU, things move slow, so we're okay losing Kalani? Like, what do you mean things move slow? Like, get with the times. That's what I want to say to BYU right now.
And I'm sure Kalani's factoring that in. I mean, this is not his first day on campus at BYU.
But do you get what I mean? He shouldn't have to factor things in. Like, it should just be at some point.
And I should also be 200 pounds with a 6-pack of abs, but I'm a fat ass. Things happen.
Well,
like there's a way that
That's
things
quite
go,
enough. We get it.
There's a way that things go down, dude.
Well, apparently at BYU, that's how it goes.
And but he knows the way the gears turn there. I think the frustration is that they don't have an agreement in principle.
You have a deal.
It's not that he needs a contract signed in front of him. I think Kalani wants a handshake, and I don't think he's. And this is just what I'm hearing, right? Like, I don't know this to be fact, but the guys I talked to at BYU have not been wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They've not been, and I will just go back and say, we've heard from day one about this Kalani contract extension thing or rework. It's not an extension. He just signed a new contract in August, but they're reworking. It's going to be an addendum, whatever the flip you want to call it.
Paperwork.
Yeah. They're working on it. We've heard that for 3.5, 4 weeks now. Like, if you go back to the Jaren Hall injury stuff, we told you shouldn't have played against Boise State.
Yet he still played.
And he still played. And everybody said he's not hurt. Well, it turns out he is hurt, right? So I think we've been pretty good on BYU, right? What I would tell you is, from what the people I talk to at BYU say, there is some disappointment that there's not been a handshake. Yeah, this is done. Now we got to get Jeannie in administration to type it up.
I want it.
That's what the frustration is.
Administration.
Hey, Jeannie, can you put that on paper, please? You know, like, I mean, it just is what it is. And I think that's where the frustration is.
Yeah.
Because if they had a handshake deal, Kalani's not talking to Oregon. Right? I mean, and there's palatable frustration there, but there's also a sense of urgency to get this done. And I think it gets done. I just think there's going to be I think some people are going to be gripping their Book of Mormon a little tighter down in Provo for a minute. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it's unfortunate that it's got to go that way. While talking about BYU, Mitchell has 7 more Euro step buckets on the Wolves.
I know, dude. I know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Wow. Teddy Wayman says, "Sup, fellas."
What's up, buddy?
Nice. Bradlark says, "By the way, Jake, put the glasses back on. Luca's mom is hot. And do you guys even watch Jazz games? There, it's all out now." Okay. By the way, it was shocking in Hawaii to see you in glasses.
Yeah.
So Jake has his own place, so I don't see what your bedtime routine is. Wow, that's awkward to say that out loud. Anyway, so as we...
Oh, shit. Damn, I am tripping.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, the point is,
right.
Once you took your contacts out in Hawaii and you put your glasses on, I was like, the fuck is in our condo, man? Oh, it's Jake. Sorry, my bad.
For such a smart person, you really are lost, aren't you?
I am. Like, that was weird to see you in glasses.
I mean, I got to be able to see.
Casey says, there's a lot of big money donors giving a lot of money to the athletic department. They have the money. They just need to approve for what Kalani wants. And for everyone's worried, it takes time. It does take time. The Nye guy says, drop a bag alert, and I'll stay BYU at BYU and coach. Well, I'm telling you, it's not about his salary. This is not an issue with his salary. My dog is throwing up in the background.
What?
It's fine.
He hasn't even had anything to eat today, and he's already throwing up.
It's fine. It's not about his salary. I think he's going to get a bump in salary. Again, from what I'm told, he makes $2.4 million.
Yeah.
He's paid well. He is paid well for who he is and where he is. Anything over $2 million is a good salary for him.
Facts.
My guess is that he gets a small bump in pay. His assistants get a nice bump in pay. Because assistants essentially are paid out of a pot. They say, hey, you get $10 to pay 10 assistants. Everybody makes $1. Right? So you're going to get X amount of money to pay all of your assistants. That number will go up. And BYU in return is going to want a significant buyout if he is to take another job. Because they want to get him off the coaching carousel. They do not want this distraction.
Well, I think they're worrying about themselves, and that's the thing. BYU is concerned about its well-being, not Kalani's, you know? And I think it's just a slippery slope. That's all. You got to be careful.
All right. Should we talk Jazz basketball now?
Yes. Let's get into Jazz basketball.
All right. The Jazz won last night. Cool.
Neat.
All right. Let's talk about the post-game pressers. Because this is where the money in this conversation is.
Yeah.
So after the game, Patrick Beverly's a jerk. Like, he runs his mouth. But he said something we've said on this show quite often. He essentially said Rudy Gobert is soft. And I was like, wait a minute. You didn't score in the second half, if memory serves. And he got a technical foul talking smack to Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
But then after the game as well, Anthony Edwards, who is not the most outspoken guy, but he's turning into a superstar. I mean, by any measure.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is turning into a stud. And he will dunk on your face. And so it was interesting on the podium that Anthony Edwards said this about Rudy Gobert.
Was Gobert a factor there? Or it seemed like you guys were getting there and
he wasn't affecting as many shots, and we were just missing them.
I think he was in people's heads, like just he wasn't even blocking shots for real. I don't think. I think he was just people was just going to the rim and was just like, oh, they got Rudy Gobert. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling them like, bro, he's the same as anybody else, bro. Like to me, the best rim protector in the league is Porzingis. Like anytime I go against Porzingis, I don't get no layups. Like you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't get why we couldn't finish on Rudy Gobert, but don't put no fear in my heart. I mean. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, you just lost by 30. Now, granted, Rudy did not have a great game. He didn't. But having said that, he still affected a lot of shots. And I think the interesting part is they also talked about why he didn't guard Karl Anthony Towns one-on-one, which is what Pat Bev was really talking about. I think there's a lot of truth in what they're saying.
This has nothing to do about the score. Okay?
Nothing.
Let's be very clear about this. This has nothing to do about the score or the way the game played out. Nothing to do with it. And we can get into all that in a minute. But this whole dynamic, if you will, of the best players on the other team disrespecting Rudy Gobert is something you need to be paying attention to if you're a Jazz fan. And I want to play it one more time. I want you to listen to how casual the disrespect is, like how comfortable Anthony Edwards is with throwing this shade at Rudy Gobert. Because again, let's not confuse Rudy Gobert, right? Multi-time defensive player of the year, really good rim protector, a guy
He's a stud.
Yeah,
He's
a guy
a stud.
that is supposed to be, a real force on the defensive end. Just note how casual Anthony Edwards is about throwing shade at Rudy here.
Was Gobert a factor there, or it seemed like you guys were getting there and he wasn't affecting as many shots, and we were just missing them?
I think he was in people's heads, like just he wasn't even blocking shots for real. I don't think. I think he was just people was just going to the rim and was just like, oh, they got Rudy Gobert. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling them like, bro, he's the same as anybody else, bro. Like to me, the best rim protector in the league is Porzingis. Like anytime I go against Porzingis, I don't get no layups. Like you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't get why we couldn't finish on Rudy Gobert, but
It's amazing, dude. It's amazing. It's just so casual. I'm just like, there's zero intensity in that. There's zero like, hey man, like I got to pay any kind of respect to Rudy Gobert. He's literally just saying Rudy Gobert is just like anybody else, and I don't know why we struggled with Rudy Gobert.
But this also goes back to Miles Turner. This goes back to Dwayne Dedmon. We've talked about this repeatedly on the show, that guys are taking runs at Rudy Gobert. And I think we even talked about this yesterday. Rudy's saying that he's never going to fight and that he's going to hug it out is a huge mistake. And I'll take it a step further and say Rudy Gobert is soft. He's not a physically intimidating player.
Yeah.
He is soft. And guys don't have a problem, whether it's John Morant, Anthony Edwards, you name it. Guys don't have a problem trying to dunk on his head.
Terrence Mann
dunked on him. Are they often successful? No. But are they sometimes? Yes. Is it happening more frequently? Yes. Is more success coming? Yes. You're seeing guys get to the rim on the Jazz. And a lot of it is that how many times can you ask him to stop a guy? Because you're not playing any perimeter defense. And to Anthony Edwards' point, they had no problem getting to the cup last night. Now, they couldn't finish. I don't know how many layups they made or if there's an NBA record for that. How many layups they missed, rather, and I don't know if there's an NBA record for that. But they must have said it if there is.
There's a reason they're a bad team.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason for that.
They're young.
Yeah.
They're aggressive. The Jazz are a superior team to Minnesota. They shot 53s last night. Right? I mean, who are we kidding? If they're going to shoot almost 50% from three, the Jazz are not going to lose very often.
Yeah.
But my point is, this is another young athletic team attacking Rudy Gobert. And I think this is where you really begin to understand that the perimeter defense for the Jazz is terrible. Like, and again, I know Buckets O'Neal, Buckets. I know he's the greatest defender that anybody's ever seen ever. But the guy was a turnstile last night.
He was.
I mean, the best defense I saw was the double team on Karl Anthony Towns. Which, by the way, I wouldn't put Rudy Gobert on Karl Anthony Towns either. That's a recipe to get beat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing that. And you saw how aggressively the Jazz double team Cat. Well, if he wants that to stop, do what they did with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn the other night and get rid of the ball and give it right back to him.
Yeah.
Move the guy around because you can't be two places at one time.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like the Timberwolves got out-coached, number one. And then number two, they got outplayed. I mean, I think, you know, for the fire Quinn stuff has calmed down quite a bit. But for all those people who were saying, hey, we got to fire Quinn Snyder when this team was really struggling, like last night was a perfect example of Quinn Snyder just kicking the shit out of whoever it is that coaches the Timberwolves. I mean, the Jazz were prepared. The Jazz were ready to go after their little charity event at the beginning of the game where they turned the ball over like a gazillion times. He called a very timely timeout, got them reset, and they were back into the flow of the game. So I think Quinn did a nice job last night, but I just think this whole dynamic with Rudy, you know, it's not going to change unless he changes it, you know, and I don't see Rudy Gobert changing it anytime soon. I would love to see this team be able to play with a big who punishes people for going to the rim. That's what I would love to see because I think it would totally change the way teams play the Jazz, and that's not going to happen. So
I wish Rudy Gobert was a badass who knocked people out when they tried to dunk on him.
Yeah, I wish he took bodies at the rim. I would love to see it.
He goes after the ball. He doesn't go after the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if he just 3-4 times a year would go after the body, now are you going to get a flagrant on that? Sure you are. But is it going to send a message and stop people from doing that? Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
But that's not who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get that, right? I look at the game tonight in Philly. Now, I don't know if Embiid's going to play. He hurt his knee last night. He did come back, and he played well after that, but it's a back-to-back. He's your entire franchise right now because Ben Simmons is a punk.
Seriously.
He's your entire deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Joel is going to play tonight, but Joel Embiid has been a real problem, and Bojan Bogdanovic ain't guarding that guy.
Yeah, and you would expect that Mike Conley wouldn't play tonight because it is a back-to-back, and he played last night. So
well
see.
Jared Butler's been getting 15, 20 minutes a night. So
yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah,
that's right.
Don't get me started.
He played 3 minutes last night.
Don't get me started.
You won by 30. He played 3 minutes last night.
You were up 22, I think it was, with 5 minutes left, and Dom was still in the game. Don't understand it.
Nope.
Don't understand it.
Again and again and again.
Yeah.
Royce and Joe need to be traded, says Brylark. Agree with that. There's not much to lose for John Anthony to try. If they don't get it or get blocked, then it's no biggie because he's the defensive player of the year. If they get it, then Bleacher Report will blow up. Well, true. But what you're seeing is more guys are trying.
Yeah, the issue isn't just Anthony Edwards and John Morant. The issue is once those two guys start getting it going and driving the paint, getting fouled, and, you know, because they got Rudy in foul trouble last night by doing it, which is the first time that's happened in a while. But the issue is that the rest of the team starts doing it. The rest of the team starts, you know, being more confident that they can attack Rudy. So it's a snowball effect. And again, I just want to point this out. You know, we saw this last year in the Clippers series. We even saw it a little bit in the Memphis series where teams are taking advantage of the fact that Rudy is slower of the foot. And I just think that the Jazz are going to have to figure out how to work with that. They rolled out a zone defense to start the game last night, and then they kind of rotated in and out of man and zone the whole night.
I'd love to understand, though, and this is the issue, because Patrick is telling me that it's going off about how Miles Turner's a punk, and well, Rudy Gobert's the one that started that.
Yeah.
Miles Turner blocked his shot. Rudy was falling down and decided to grab Miles Turner's shorts. That's where this all started. And this is the hard part about Rudy Gobert. When he gets into it, he starts forearming people, elbowing people. He dunks on you and tries to kick you up in the head. And that's when things get turned up. And so then when you have to be held accountable for that, because you're never going to punk Miles Turner.
No.
Miles Turner is coming for your head. I mean,
yeah.
That's just who that guy is. And Rudy won't back it up. Rudy will not back up the pulling of the shorts. And if you watch Rudy play on a regular basis, now we don't watch Jazz games.
No, we don't watch the Jazz or BYU.
But we watch all of the Jazz games. And you can see him pulling jerseys, pulling shorts, forearms in the back. Like the over-the-back call last night. And this is another thing we need to get into. This obsessive arguing over whistles for Rudy Gobert has got to stop. I promise you, this is hurting the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
He complains about every single call.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a trend in the league where guys are complaining less.
And he's lucky he didn't get his ass teed up last night for throwing that water bottle on the bench, by the way. He's lucky because that should have been a technical foul. He's not on the floor. Because he decided to throw a fit and throw that water bottle, a bunch of water gets on the floor and they got to stop the game. He should have been teed up for that. In the rule book, it says that technically should have been a technical foul, but he didn't, and they moved on with life. But I don't know, man. I want him to, saying he should grow up is kind of a childish way to say it, but he just needs to
control his
mature.
emotions for sure.
Yeah, he just needs to be better about it.
The water thing was weird. I don't know. Hodo Gonzalez says, good morning, Monty. Hodo, you already know, though.
Wow.
They all learned to cry about whistles from LeCaren. I think that's a LeBron James bomb.
Okay.
I could be wrong. The Night Guy says, when the Wolves went to sleep last night, they checked under the bed for Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, they did. He was awesome last night.
Yeah, he really was.
He was awesome.
That Euro step was beautiful.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Do they win in Philly tonight? I think it's going to be tough if Joel plays.
It really just depends. I don't know if Mike Conley's playing. Don't know if Joel Embiid's playing. I think we can pretty confidently say Mike Conley's not going to play just based on how the Jazz have been handling it. I would assume he's not going to play because it's a back-to-back. So if Mike Conley's not playing and Joel plays, okay, obviously that's going to be a bit of a challenge. If Mike Conley doesn't play and Joel doesn't play, then I think the Jazz win the game.
Yeah, I think they have a pretty good chance to win either way, but the Jazz are going. It's going to be tough. It's tough to win in Philly either way.
I want to see the Rudy and Joel matchup again. I want to see how Rudy adapts and grows from the last matchup.
Yeah. Hey, I thought you said that Kalani was focused on bowl game preparation. Okay, what makes you think he's not? Terry says, what makes you think he's not? Just you can do two things at once, and I think, as Jake said, his agent's handling the contract.
Yeah.
So Mitchell is nasty right now. The Nye Guy says.
Yeah, so he crosses the 30-point line last night when we're watching this game. I'm like, wait, he has 30? Like that must have been the quietest 30-point game of his life. Like it just is so easy for him right now.
Well, and because he's added this left hand that's reliable now.
Yeah.
He's adding stuff to his bag all the time. Jeremy Bolton says, hello, good morning. Caruso sucks.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution today. Really appreciate it. Love you.
He also says Donovan's been fantastic the last 4 or 5 games. He has.
Yeah.
He has. And when they shoot threes like that, it's going to be tough for them to win.
Agreed.
Or to lose, rather. It's going to be tough for them to be beaten.
Yeah.
Because when they shoot 50 threes a game, that's why I always say, as this roster is constructed now, shoot 50, 60, 70, shoot 100 threes
This team goes as a 3 goes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you shoot, again, yeah, I agree with you. Why wouldn't you shoot 55, 60 a night?
Yeah, I don't
Do
know.
it. Like, what do you, like, come on.
I don't know. I think it's, Snuka says, speaking of the Jazz, everyone subscribe so I can get an Xbox Series S. Truth. Absolutely true. Who's texting you?
That's you. That's not me.
Are you kidding me?
That's you. That's not me.
Is that me? That could be. It's Mrs. Monty. By the way,
honey,
go Hawks.
I miss my wife. Like she needs.
Inevitably, we always get to this portion when Mrs. Monty's out of town.
What?
I don't sleep well.
Oh, I slept like it was lights out last night.
I'm out of my routine. I have to do extra things.
I slept like a rock last night. Dude, I turned the fan on to speed 2.
Did you really?
Yeah, we have a new ceiling fan. It's about 6 months old now. But we put a new fan in our room, and it's got a remote control. And so I usually have it on 1.
Yeah.
Last night I got daring.
Oh, boy.
Put it on 2, got under the sheet, because I'm actually an adult. I use a flat sheet.
Yeah, flat sheets are dumb.
I use a flat sheet and a weighted blanket.
I'm for real.
Good night. Had one trip to Nighttime Pea Guy, and other than that, I was out.
Nice, dude.
I slept really, really well.
Nice.
Really, really, really well.
Very nice. I like that.
Yeah, that was amazing. We're giving away this Xbox Series S. We're going to do that at 3,000.
Yeah, can we get a little subscriber count check-in?
2671. So we've picked up quite a few subscribers in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, subscribe. Give us, first of all, if you're here right now, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, just hit the thumbs up
Please
button.
hit the thumbs up button. Then hit subscribe. Take a picture that you're subscribed. Tag us on social any of the three, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, you have to tag us both. I'm the Monty Show. He's SLC Supercars. At 3,000, we're going to give away this Xbox Series S. Period.
Okay.
You can't read that comment. That'll get filtered. The Minnesota fans were and oohing at Mitchell's moves. He's pretty good. Not that they have the balls, but would it make sense for the Jazz to go for Saboner? I'm telling you.
Did he literally write Saboner?
He did write Saboner. He did. I'm telling you that they should be going after Karis LeVert.
Yeah.
It's the guy they should be going after. And if they're not, I'd be disappointed. All right. Can we talk about happiness, speaking of my wife being out of town?
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot about thriving lately. And I'm not the guy who just checks off days off the calendar. Like, I think you need to live your life. So if I just asked you point blank, are you happy?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, yeah. In the day-to-day, yes.
I think I'm now as happy as I've ever been. But,
Donnie?
I have like 4 computers here. And
as you can see, I'm going through some shit right now.
Where's it at?
You're like, what? I'm trying to figure out where it is. And it was on my other MacBook.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So you're as happy as you've ever been.
I'm as happy as I've ever been, but the definition of happiness has changed.
Okay.
Now that we have pretty significant financial freedom, we're very fortunate that we're 100% debt free. We have pretty good resources in the bank at this moment. Like, everything's good that way. So I'm no longer stressing about my finances. But I'm starting to realize that every day that you live is you're a day older. You're never going to be younger than you are right now in this moment in time. Every second on the clock, you're getting older. And I just realized that, like, this pandemic has created so much opportunity. And I feel like I have like this odd sense of urgency that I want to get aggressive and take advantage of that. And I don't, I'm not saying that I know how to do that.
Right.
Necessarily. We have a plan. We're working on something outside of things, but I just feel like there's something I should be doing that I'm not doing. And so I've been really getting into, thriving and happiness and, how, techniques, mental techniques for living in the moment. And it makes a huge difference. And last night I was reading about happiness, and during the pandemic, people say their happiness has gone up. It's not gone down.
Right.
Divorces have gone down. They haven't gone up. Birth rates are steady. So everybody's
Go
like,
Hawks.
well, everybody's going to be at home. We're going to be pounding box.
Yep.
Making babies, baby.
Yep.
Well, it turns
Shit
out,
happened.
yeah, like it's been level, right? So happiness has gone up. And I think it's because people have been forced to spend more time with each other and get to know the people you live with.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, I'm just interested to see how happy people really are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, happiness is, a lot of people say, like, happiness is a choice, and I kind of believe that. Like, I think it's, everybody has different challenges and hurdles that they have to deal with on the day-to-day, but I think that, we can choose to be, to live, gratefully. We can choose to be, happy with life, but I think there's a difference. Like, being happy, but also wanting to do more isn't wrong. I feel like, just because you want to do more doesn't mean you're unhappy.
But what are the key factors in your happiness? And I would love to get comments on this because I really want to understand where people are at, especially now with it being Christmas and the high holidays. And like, what are the key factors in your life when it comes to happiness?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first key factor is work, especially when you're in sales. Like, I think if work is going well and, you're closing deals and having a great month, your day-to-day is going to be a bit easier. When you got the momentum at work, life is a lot easier, that'd be number one. Number two, I think is, I think relationships and the people in your life would be second. I think, like for me, our relationship never seems to waver or have issues just because like we work together every day, so like we just are. It's almost like we're on autopilot in that sense. Like for me, yeah, it's no secret. Like as much as we joke and and have fun with it, like the dating thing has been a real challenge. I finally feel like I've met someone who I got a chance with, and that's been nice. So we'll see. But like that would be the only thing I would say that I've been unhappy with. That's been the thing that's been frustrating and feels like I'm wasting my time.
I don't think there's any doubt for me. It was finances.
Mm-hmm.
Like finances,
we just went through a dark time. I think like
I had a 2-year period where my life was pretty stressful over my money.
Yeah, I mean those 2 years I just didn't have money. I just didn't. I just didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like I wasn't. Like our situations were a little bit different in the sense that I didn't have nearly as much debt, but like I just didn't have money. And that's been the craziest thing about Yelp and how it's kind of changed things around. You go from making, I think the year before I started at Yelp, I made like $30,000 or $40,000 maybe if I was lucky. So I just didn't really have money, and now it's totally different. Now I'm in a good spot. We are in a good spot. So I think the money everyone says, oh, well, money can't buy happiness, which I think is total horse crap. I think that money is the lifeblood of everything that we do. You can't go to the store and pay for your groceries with happiness, right?
But I think there's a lot of people that this time of year struggle.
Oh, absolutely. I think the gift giving thing, the whole dynamic around buying gifts for your kids, and I was reading an article about how telling your kids, that Santa gave them that $1,000 iPad is ruining other kids in school, because kids go to school. One kid says Santa got me an iPad. Another kid says that Santa got me a pair of socks, and the kid who got the pair of socks is wondering why they didn't get the iPad. And so it's just this whole thing that we go through every single year. And I'm not saying that like the Santa thing is a bad thing, but I think when we talk about happiness and how parents handle it and manage it, I think it's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, I think the holidays, especially with COVID, bring up a lot of stress and unhappiness for people. I mean, we've lost millions and millions of people. And so I think when you see that, like there's going to be some empty seats around the table this year.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who won't be able to get together. And I think Squeaky Josh Carlisle says, hi from Minnesota.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you. The Nye Guy says less stress. Dario George says purpose is a big part of happiness, of course. Casey Finlinson says, after a conversation I had yesterday, I think more people than I thought absolutely hate the holidays. I feel the same between the social commitments and family stress. It's not a fun time. I think there's a lot of people who feel that way.
Well, I think so. It's kind of funny you bring that up, because what was that? What was that first year where we did Thanksgiving up in Park City? We didn't do it at home the traditional way. I can't remember when that was. That was like
probably 2014.
Yeah, I feel like that was a while ago now. It was like 7-8 years ago. Yeah, like 2014 or whatever. That ever since that year, we really haven't done huge. Like I think we've done it one time or two times. Huge Thanksgiving at home with all the dishes and everything like that. Like it's interesting how much more fun Thanksgiving is when you're in Maui sitting in the pool.
Yeah,
who would have thought? Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Jeremy Bolton says, Casey, unfortunately, I agree. My in-laws always come out for the holidays. This time around, they're out for 6 weeks, and I hate it. Every year makes me wish for the holidays to end. Ooh.
It's rough, man.
6 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, that's rough, dude.
The Nye Guy says, Jake, I'm with you. Congrats on meeting a good one. May the teacher burn in 7 layers of Dante's hell. Okay.
Wow.
Thank
you.
That's interesting, Monty. I've been less happy since COVID. The last time I can say I was truly happy was March 7th, 2020. That was when someone in my family got married, Tanner Plummer says.
Well, let me pose this question. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut it down. But let me ask this question. How many people in the comments right now work from home? I want to ask that question. How many people on the day-to-day work from home?
Man, I got to say that's a lot. Gabe Lovely says, having money, not everything, but not having it is. Exactly.
Correct.
Gratitude paves the path to happiness. Yes, it does. Angry Astley says, wealthy isn't measured by how much money you have. It's about if you're happy. Nope, I'm in school, Astley says. Bolton says, my wife and I both work from home.
Yeah, see, so like so we work from home too, and I think that the work from home thing has been a kind of a crazy dynamic. I never thought I'd be a work from home guy, but I love it. I love being able to work from home.
Maury Albis says, I work from home.
It's great. Like it really helps.
Yeah, and I think it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, I think, marriage is such a key dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think money is such a key component in relationships. Justin, money absolutely buys happiness. This has been my most successful year financially, and being able to watch my kids smile while on vacation is everything.
I mean, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Like, I don't have kids, so I can't obviously put myself in your shoes, but I can only imagine how good it must feel as a parent to see your kids just not having a care in the world and having everything that they need. I could only imagine how good that feels.
Yeah. Yep. Bear Laker says, I haven't worked in the office for almost 2 years, and I love it.
Right?
Yeah, we work at Yelp, and we'll never have to go back to the office if we don't want to. I mean, they've made it.
Like going back to the office for a day is like an event now. It's like a thing.
Yep.
It's a happening.
The Nye guy says, I work from home, but I live at work. Yeah, which can be difficult. Casey Finland says, money isn't it. It's stress that comes from not having it. Correct.
Agreed.
Cam Harrison says, I work from home and twice in the office. I love how I can literally work from anywhere. Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Hey, man.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Yeah, I love working from anywhere. I agree with that 100%. The hard thing is, I guess, I think marriage brings such an important dynamic to your life. And, one of the things we don't talk about enough probably is the importance of sex in marriage, right? And I think that there's so many people whose sex lives are dysfunctional, and you pile financial problems on top of that. If you have health problems, God forbid, you pile that on top of that, right? Like, I just think that there are so many things that we do on a daily basis that torpedo our happiness. I think you need to be mindful of the things that you do on a regular basis. I think the things you say and how you say it, I know that my words can be very, very cutting. And so just the tone that I deliver my language in needs to be very carefully thought about. And it's something I really work on. I think with my wife, I treat her like my queen, because think about your life without that person. We find ourselves being unhappy over, getting in arguments over, how the guy in front of us was driving, that leads to a fight, or you forgot to get something at the store. And we have these stupid petty arguments, and it's like, okay, are we really going to end our marriage over what I forgot to get at the store? Well, it's a culmination of all those arguments, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very, you just need to really understand that. I think marriage is so important to your happiness. And I think we have trouble talking about sex in this country.
Oh, no question.
I really do. I
question.
think if you have a dysfunctional sex life inside of your marriage, it's going to be very difficult to be happy, to thrive in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's something that I think we probably all have dealt with. And marriage is incredibly important. Again, I mean, you choose to be in love every day when you're married, because it is very difficult to be happy every single day of your married life.
Mm-hmm.
And yet when you're unhappy in your marriage, it greatly affects you. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, because I was reading articles about how people's happiness has actually gone up during the pandemic. And there are more people thriving financially during the pandemic than there ever has been before. And I'm not talking about the people that, the billionaires that grew billions. I just mean in general. So the Nye guy says, I work at Westminster and live on campus. So, gotcha. Greg Hawkins says, I do not work from home. Tanner Plummer says, my wife and I don't work from home. I also go to college, and I have to go to Salt Lake 2-3 times a week. That sounds stressful. That sounds stressful.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Bradlark says, Monty, 100%. Thank you. Tanner says, I wish I worked from home. A lot of people do.
Yeah, dude.
So
yeah,
there you have it.
Okay. Well, this has been nice.
I feel like the holidays are a heavy conversation.
Well, they are, because I think What we also haven't mentioned is specifically in Utah, the religion dynamic around the holidays is really present. Meaning that, I know several friends that I have who are not LDS, but their family is LDS, and that whole dynamic, is really, really interesting. And I think whether you're somebody who is dreading the holidays because you're not LDS and your family is, or you're dreading the holidays simply because your in-laws are staying with you for 6 weeks and you're not a fan, like whatever it is, I think that the holidays, you just have to find a way to enjoy the holidays. You have to find a way. And sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes that's saying, hey, yeah, I don't want the in-laws here this year. And that's difficult, almost impossible, maybe.
Yeah. The holidays are very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of that. Talk to people. In our state, addiction and suicide are real epidemics in this state, in Utah. So please talk to people. Please have open conversations. All right, there you go. Philly or the Jazz tonight? Jazz won't be able to play small ball.
I'm gonna go with the Jazz. They're shooting it well.
All
I feel like they might be able to pull this one out.
Through the whole pandemic, I've had to go into work. However, I've been successful at work with a new, better paying position during the same time.
There you go.
I think some people still do well going in. All right, play the music. We got to go. Good times, good talk. Appreciate that. The Night Guy says, like Jake, I've recently met someone and now I have to deal with that at Xmas. Ugh. Wow. Are you getting the not teacher a Christmas gift?
Yeah, I'll figure something out.
Gift of this
Yeah.
kid. Anyway.
Wow.
That was probably too
Wow.
Thanks for listening. Until tomorrow. Say yeah, Jake.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.